So,
all right.
It is time for.
I thought we were recording. Sorry, I'm.
No, we are now.
All that stuff is on the cutting room floor now, and that was, that was great.
That was the good stuff.
That was the good stuff now. So, now it's all the technical questions. You have to reveal all your production secrets.
All the boring shit. Okay.
We've been talking about this guy on our podcast and reviews for such a long time. Even before kind of Metal Epidemic, Duncan and I have had a bit of an unhealthy obsession with him. So I am ecstatic to finally have him on the podcast. Jakob, how are you doing, man? Thank you for coming on.
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you, and thanks for having me.
No problem.
Yeah,
pleasure.
I'm not
just basically told him you stalk him. So, and then you're like, how does that feel?
Well, I don't know. Stalking me.
Still is. We can say it straight away. Still is our favourite gig of all time is Gojira, Hate Sphere at King Tut's. And it blew our minds.
2006 that was, by the way.
2006, right? So we just kind of melted our faces for the best part of 2.5 hours. It was kind of amazing.
Yeah.
So.
Was that the Cat House?
No, it was Tut's. It was King Tut's. And it was so heavy, so fucking heavy. That's the only way I can describe it.
Yeah.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah. There was I think it was supposed to be 3 bands, wasn't there? There was a band called, is it Engel? I think the band. They were supposed to be on first, but something happened and they didn't play.
Yeah.
So it was just you and Gojira that played that night.
Yeah.
But wow.
But actually, we was just the 2 of us on the whole UK tour.
Right, okay.
But I remember something with Engel. Yeah, they were supposed to play some shows, but
yeah.
I can't remember what actually happened.
Yeah.
And I can't remember much.
Anything.
But funny that you were there.
Yeah, like we were big fans of both bands, and the opportunity to see us both on the same bill was too much to pass up. And like I say, it's probably one of my favourite venues that I've ever been to in terms of like heavy music. And the 2 sets were fucking crushing. So so now we've got that out of the way, Dave. See, the air's clear now. Now we can get into the interview. See,
I don't know. I'd just like to sit and talk about that gig, to be honest.
What?
That was just.
It's all been a ruse. The whole website and everything has just been a ruse to get you here to talk about 2006.
That was just so good, man. It was just like we did nothing but talk about that after that show. We spoke about it for
ages.
Ever.
It's the weird, one of those things that, like, you'll know yourself. You will have been at like a show at some point, and then I don't know, like you just instantly have to compare every other live gig to it. And it's an unrealistic expectation. Like every other thing becomes kind of, well, it was good, but was it? Gojira Hate Sphere at Tut's good. Oh no, it wasn't. So I guess
it's achieved mythical status at this point, hasn't it?
Yeah. Like, the first thing you can clear up for us right now is what is going on in Denmark just now. That in the last 3 years, the explosion of bands and music over there, the quality is just absolutely insane. Because like there's always been good heavy music from that part of the world, but for whatever reason, in the last 2 or 3 years, there just seems to be an incredible, like, exciting amount of different sounding metal bands coming out from over there. Is there something? Is there a bit of a renaissance going on just now, or something that we're not aware of? Well, this quality.
What have you been putting in the water supply is what we want to know.
Yeah. This.
Yeah. We can get some of that, Dave.
Drink this and success right away. Actually, it's always. I wouldn't say it's always been like that, but back when we were active with, when I was active with H-Sphere, there was like also this Danish wave of bands, and all sounded different. Back then it was like Nimic, and it was Mercenary, and it was like us. It was who else?
Raunchy were.
Raunchy, Raunchy, and all the old timers like Ildes Post and Concra, and who still plays, by the way, and yeah, I don't know. It's always been a scene, but back when we were playing like this tour, for example, we played a lot, and we kind of was a part of opening some doors and making Denmark interesting on the metal map or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. and there was a lot of stuff going on, but at some point I don't know if the interest died, but there were still bands. There's always been bands, and there's lots of bands, like a lot of bands. Some good, some bad. But I think right now, no, it's kind of the same. It's hard to.
Do you just think there's maybe more avenues for bands to get signed or like more exposure, and is more that the rest of the world is actually catching up with the stuff that's been coming out for the last few years, rather than necessarily all of a sudden the scene's interesting again? It's always been kind of there, it's just the attention seems to be more focused that way. Yeah. I
think when like a Danish band gets signed to a big label, it kind of gets everybody's attention. Like when Møl recently got signed to Nuclear Blast, Bass got signed to Century Media, or back then when Raunchy got signed to Nuclear Blast and we got signed to Steamhammer and all that, it creates some attention, and suddenly there's focus on, we want the next Danish band on our label and whatnot. But there's always been a good scene and good underground scene for metal, hardcore, and punk in Denmark, and we also got like folk metal bands, like a lot of them. People don't know them if you don't are into that. Yeah. But if you like to play...
there's a million of those over here too. I'm like, where do you come from? And they're like, we're everywhere.
Exactly. And so there's a lot of everything, but I don't know why and how. Just because people like playing music to play music. And the good thing is that there's no one that sounds the same. And I mean, if every band wanted to sound like whatever, it would be boring. But it's not boring.
Yeah, because we noticed that like last year in particular, like all the ones that we were getting through for review anyway, were all they were doing. They were bringing their own personality to that genre. They were like putting a twist on it, which made them really interesting. Whether it was, and I'll butcher the name, I want to say Nightlife. It's not Nightlife. It's NYT LIV. Like they had a very, I can never I've given up track of it. They had a very distinct sound. Wow. Yeah, and then like Maul, for example, that you mentioned, who just like for whatever reason. The way that the bands are kind of just doing something, but they're kind of twisting it to make it their own. Which I know, like every band says they do that, but when you listen to shitloads of music, a lot of bands just sound the same. That you get those you get like a distinct sense of personality on them, which I think is kind of great. And it makes It's probably like what you were saying, to be honest. It's like you get a couple of bands that get signed and then labels are like, must be a really exciting scene over there. We need to make sure we can sign the next big thing before it becomes the next big thing. So yeah,
a lot of that individuality you're talking about, Duncan, also comes from the production, though.
That's what they call a segue in the business.
see
Dave.
how
I
I
don't
did
know if
that
they
there?
know that. That's a seg. We're going to write that segue right
That
into
was
your
professional as fuck there, by the way. Yeah, we've obviously been listening to a lot of the stuff you've been producing over the last couple of years, and we've mentioned it on reviews. You know how different each of your productions sound. You know, there's something very original about them. I didn't realize until kind of later on that you were involved in some of the production of the kind of early Hatesphere albums as well. I didn't know that at all. Was that something that you kind of got into around that time, or were you already doing that before Hatesphere?
I was doing it while I was playing with Hatesphere, like at the same time, but it was just like more like a hobby thing and for the fun of
right,
it.
okay.
And I started out. I started out sitting. I was just talking about it tonight, actually, with a guy from the gym where I was training, and he asked about something. I said, "Yeah, I started sitting in a rehearsal room in a practice space with a 8-track digital hard disk recorder, which I borrowed from a friend, and it was just fun to record other bands and help them and record their songs and see, okay, what can we make out of this." And it was just for fun. It was just a hobby, and it was just like, whatever. But I was always interested in like putting stuff on tape or hard disk or whatever. And I somehow found it fascinating that you could actually press on a button and then save it for the rest of your life. But I never thought it was something I would do for a living. It was not a plan on my plan at all. It was just something that happened because I was recording a death metal band at some point called Human Erupt with some friends of mine, and Michael, the bass player from Hatesphere, was playing that band too.
All right.
And what? Oh, sorry. And I recorded that, and it turned out really, really good. But that was because the band was really fucking crazy good. Some of the best shit ever. They split up after that at some point, but it was really, really good, and people heard it, and people thought it sounded good, and some other bands wanted to record something with me because of that. It's like, yeah, you can do that. You can try that. and then I did some stuff, and then I don't know what happened actually, but one of my friends, Throwe Madsen, who's also he's a famous producer.
I've never heard of it.
You know him?
You're a liar, Kyle. Pinocchio Kyle strikes again.
You know Throwe Madsen, right? You did fucking Hellfall and shit like that. Okay. And sing it all. But he was supposed to do some German band, and he didn't have the time to do it. And this is like 20 years ago or whatever. And he asked me if I could record it. I was like, German band album sounds very serious. But I ended up doing it in 6 days at another studio. And then after that, I suddenly got emails and phone calls from other German bands like, what is this? And then I found out, okay, nice, I can make a little money on this on the side when I tour with Hatesphere and whatnot, and better to work than working in a kindergarten. And and then at some point, an old friend of mine, he bought this house out in the countryside, and he wanted to do a studio, and he did it, and I could use it with him or without him, and I ended up doing a lot of stuff out there. And at some point, I felt like, okay, now it's kind of serious, and I stopped playing in HV in 2009, 7, 8, 9. I can't remember. I'm so bad at numbers and years. I always forget when was this and that. But so I was like, okay, I want to try to have my own studio, my way, and I want a lot of space. I want to be able to record live with a full band, and I want to blah blah blah. And at some point, I got the chance to take over this studio from another guy, the building where he had a studio, and I was like, okay, let's jump into it and try to actually make it, to make a living out of it. So that's a short version of how I got started with this. And
did that then become? Did that then become Dead Rat? Was that the same building that became Dead Rat Studio?
Yes,
cool. Right.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, I'm very bad at receiving compliments, so I shouldn't be here because I know I know what you said about me. And I can't take it.
Yeah, we had to edit most of the other stuff because it was becoming like too much of a. Yeah, we have to talk about the band eventually, Dave. Yeah, I think the thing that
what
is one of the things that kind of stands out specifically with the way you produce music is, and we were talking about earlier on about like bands that just essentially sound the same, and some of that is down to like music. They're playing very much within the same genre, but sometimes that comes down to like just the way the music's produced. Like certain producers have a kind of default sound, and if you exist within that genre, if you are a deathcore band, for example, I don't know why I said that, but if you're a deathcore band and you're produced by a certain deathcore producer, chances are you're going to sound very, very, very similar. And you used to get a lot with not all the time, but Devin Townsend. I think Devin Townsend goes through weird waves of producing bands and giving them the Devin Townsend sound, and then other bands which you listen to and you wouldn't know he produced it at all. But the thing that has always kind of stood out from the music we've reviewed that you've worked on is how kind of tailored to the band's sound it gets, which I think is it's like a lost art where like there's when you listen to it you just get the feeling that this is how this was always supposed to sound as opposed to a producer saying no, this is how you should sound. Which do you think that comes from your experience kind of playing in bands and going through being on essentially the other side of that recording process, or is that just something you're maybe not necessarily even conscious of when you're doing it?
I'm pretty aware of. I mean, my goal is to make the band sound like the band, and not like me in my studio. And I always said that I don't want the band to sound like me. Yeah. Of course, they go through my ears and my head and my whatever. So there will be something of me on this album, no matter what. But I'm very happy and very flattered that you hear the stuff I do, and you think about it that way, because that's the whole purpose. And now you talk about deathcore and whatnot, and I don't listen too much to that, but I know what you mean. and I also hear. I mean, here in Denmark we have some very good producers, engineers, and whatnot. We have a few like pretty. They call them famous or whatever you want to call it, and very good at what they do. and I'm not talking bad about them, but they can make everything sound the same.
Yeah.
I can't. Sometimes I wish I could you know, but that's not my thing, and and my technical abilities are not on their level, because when sometimes people ask me about some technical stuff, I'm like, look it up on Google. I ask someone else. I don't know. I
just
use
twist the knobs until it sounds good.
Yeah. I use my ears, right? Of course, I have some kind of knowledge,
It's the best way to do it.
but I use my ears, and that's what I'm doing. And people can talk so much about.
You ever used your ears and like done something crazy when you looked at it afterwards? You're like, you shouldn't be able to do that, but it sounds so good.
Yeah, but also the other way around. I shouldn't have done that. I've done my fair of productions that sounds really, really bad, and I'm the first to admit that. But you learn from that, right? You learn by your mistakes. You learn about what not to do and what to do.
If not, then you should just go and produce deathcore.
Deathcore's just getting tight. I like
I don't think I would be good at that, actually. And sometimes when I hear bands, there's a guy from Copenhagen called Chris Kreutzfeldt who plays in Cabal, and he's also producing all these bands. And what he's doing, I could never do. He's very good at what he's doing. That he has like his own sound, and he's doing his stuff the way he's doing it. And I have no idea where to start if I should do what he's doing. I have like no clue. Yeah, for real. For real. So and there's a lot of opinions about how to do stuff and how not to do stuff, but there are no rules. There's only tastes, and there's good taste and bad taste, right? But okay, let's say some people are like, you can only do vocals in this Neumann whatever mic. It's the only thing that works.
Yeah.
Why is saying that? Because the guy who's singing in it might sound better in a cheap mic that you paid 20 euros for, because he has a great voice that fits good in this mic. Whatever, and you could the bass drum has to be mic'd with this mic, otherwise microphone, otherwise it doesn't work. Yeah, but maybe this bass drum being captured better with this because it's a different bass drum. And some people are very like, it has to be this way, and it works really good for some people that it is this way. But I like to try different stuff. But sometimes I also just do the same as I did the last time, but it's a different drum kit, and it's a different guitar amp, and it's a different whatever, and then it sounds different because it's a different human being playing, and that's where it all starts, right? So I had a classic story from the studio. I was doing this band, and I had a drum tech, a friend of mine, who was tuning the drums and preparing with me. And he was playing the drums, and we made some sound. And the sound, sounds great now. And then the drummer came and played. That drummer from the band came and played on it, and it sounded like shit. There you go, right?
Yeah.
So so you have to make it work for the guy who's actually playing and singing and beating shit.
I was laughing watching the Lifesick videos that they did. kind of little kind of studio documentaries. I was kind of laughing at that because you were testing so many like snare drums and bass drums and stuff, trying to get like the perfect sound, and then obviously they always go back to the first one. You know, it's the first one they tried that they end up going back to. But I thought it was pretty funny. But that the sound on that album is phenomenal.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, a lot of people really like that album, and I like it too. I like it how it came out, and I actually read a review the other day, some time ago, and I don't really read reviews anymore, but I read this for some reason, and the guy who wrote it, he in my head he wrote it perfectly, right? Because he I can't remember the exact words, but like he felt like he was standing in the middle of a show with a band, and beers and sweat was everywhere, and he felt when he listened to it, he was in like close to the band and really felt it, and like wow, that's what we wanted, right? That's what you always want. You want to feel it. You want to smell it. You want to have it close to you, and that's the thing about get that life and grittiness and whatever you want to call it, like the feeling of being close to the band and being there. That's the hard part, because when you're at a show, you're standing in front of a giant PA, and it's physical in another way, and it's hard to get that physical feeling, because you're also not only there and it's loud and it's wild, but you also get to see the band play. And when you listen to a record, you can't see the band play. But if you listen to something and you feel that you almost can see the band and smell the band and smell the audience, then you're onto something pretty good, I think. So, but it's a good album and it's a good band, and I'm totally biased on it, but I really think it's a good album. And the boys, the guys should be proud. I know they are, and very happy about it. And it's and also they took some. They had some different ideas this time, and it's really good.
Yeah, I thought it was. I really enjoyed it. I went back and listened to their previous albums and stuff as well, so you could hear the changes on this one as well. You know, especially vocally, there was some changes that were really cool. Little bits of melody and stuff. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, very. I saw them. They played support for Metal actually here in Aarhus. Metal has a few release, like a release show for the album, and they asked Lifesick to open up, and they opened up with Simon, the singer, standing on stage alone with an acoustic guitar and playing this old country song. And I was like, what the fuck? But he just had it, you know. He was just like, wow. And then at the end of the song, he's just standing there, and people are like, I started to get goosebumps because it's so good. It's like, and I knew he had a good voice for that, because we did this part on one of the songs on the album. So like, and then I just hear the feedback coming from Nikolai, beep, and they enter the stage, and then whoa. It was great. It was surprising. It was like, wow. Yeah.
That's cool.
It's good shit.
I think the album. There was an album from last year that kind of production-wise kind of hit me more than the rest. And that was the LLNN album.
Oh, that thing was insane, yeah.
That was
we didn't get around to, like, we had the year before we'd done like an award thing, like a kind of fake award ceremony at the end of the year, and I think we didn't get around to it this year, but we all unanimously agreed that it was going to win the "I've Just Shat My Pants" award for heaviness. Like, I have never, like, I missed the review for that one, and I was like about a week late listening to it, and you guys had raved about how heavy it was, and I hit play, and I actually started to feel like I was getting like face paralysis. I just kind of felt myself like kind of turning in like that. It was just like a slow motion car crash. It's so fucking heavy, man. Honestly,
it is. It's a special album. It's there's a lot of people who are really into that band now, and I totally understand it. It's again, it's about musicianship. It's about the way you play together, because they recorded it live, like bass, drums, and guitar.
What the fuck? Are you kidding me?
But then we afterwards we overdubbed the guitar. But that's how they did the last one too. Like the Death's album we did in 3 days.
Jesus.
And this one we did in 1 week. Then they did all the
it takes my band a year to release one song. How did you do an album in 3 days?
Yeah, but they came prepared, and But the thing is, like, that band, that they have a history. I don't know if you know the Psych Project. But
way back in the day, me and Dave were in a band and played with the Psych Project.
Yeah,
so,
we supplied the Psych Project.
They're a band that we used to regularly mention as, like, they were one of those bands that didn't sound like anyone else. Like, back then, we just fucking love how chaotic they were, and then they just vanished off the map, which was part of the reason we got so excited when we heard that. When we heard that LLNN stuff, because it's just this is what they're doing now. So, but that's Rasmus, the drummer, is from Psych Project, and Christian Bonnesen, the guitar player and the singer. He joined Psych Project in the last two albums, and I think the vibe that those two guys have got together from playing in Psych Project, they took to LLNN, and the groove, the weird fucking down-tuned boing boing boom stuff. It's like they're so what do you call it? Integrated. They're so melded together somehow. And then they got the other Rasmus Furbo on bass now, and he also knows what the fuck is up. So, but they, I did the last Psych Project album in my studio too.
Oh, right, cool.
Yeah, the one called Guillotine. And to this day, I haven't been able to hear it from start to end, because it's so extreme somehow. And it's so I don't know. it's special. It's a very special album, and it's very, for me and but also for a lot of other people. And it's so, I don't know. It's very extreme in its own weird way, and I have it on vinyl, but I cannot hear it from start to end. I don't know why. Weird. And they also made the record of drinking the most beers in a studio session ever, I think. I think they actually counted themselves, but it was terrible. Anyway, but LLNN, yeah, it's a good album. I think there's good things ahead for them, and the funny thing is that when they came to the studio, Rasmus brought his old Sonor drum kit, and he haven't touched it for I don't know how long, because when they practice on some other guy's drum kit. So he just brought this fucking drum kit, and it sounded terrible. The drum heads were all beaten to death, and they were tuned like, "Are you gonna play jazz? Or what do you want to do with this?" And his snare sounded like shit, and everything actually just in that drum kit sounded like shit, except for the bass drum, because I tuned it a bit. Like, okay, this is working, but the toms, I maybe we didn't use his own toms. Maybe we used some old beat up shit that I had in the studio. I can't actually remember, because I was so. That's just, and they will all start drinking beer and talking shit, and just being annoying. Rasmus and his brother Katie, they can be very, We have a love-hate relationship, and it's fine. Sometimes I love them really much, and sometimes I fucking want to kill them.
That sounds fun.
And they know. Everybody knows, I guess. Now everybody knows. But so again, you played some old beat up drum kit, but because the guy who's playing it, plays it the way it should be played, and things are working. If you played like shit, and it would of course not work. But But as I said, the what do you call it? This with between Rasmus and Christian is something unique, and they have this groove. And then the other Rasmus, as I said, the bass player, he added the last magic. The bass is a very very big part on how the sound, the heaviness. Like a bigger part than some people actually maybe think, because when I was listening to the mix and I mute the bass, there's nothing. That's how we feel. Like when I muted, like I had some guys coming by when I was mixing, and then I was like, "Hey, listen to this." I'm like, "Whoa, this is heavy." Yeah, okay. Now listen to it. I'm like, "What happened?" Yeah. So anyway, it's just it's funny. Well, was that a question, or I'm just
because on the mix as well, there's like some like weird experimentation with sounds and stuff as well, kind of filling it out. How challenging is it to incorporate something like that into like the overall mix? You know, when you're not just dealing necessarily just with guitar, bass, and drums, but you're actually bringing in these other kind of more experimental elements.
You mean all these synth things? Yeah.
Yeah. Some of the sounds are like, I mean, like as someone who like as a connoisseur of the synth, I love it. But I was listening to that, just going, that's like, it shouldn't work, but it sounds amazing. So, like from your standpoint, how challenging is it to mix into a sound that is already really dense? It's already quite thick sounding. Is that challenging, or is that?
On this album, it was not challenging because we learned a lot from the last one we did from Dead's album. So I knew like all the stuff they did at home, and they sent to me, and it's a very important part of their sound, and that's also what they kind of that's why it also makes it special, of course. And they know that I'm more like I'm the rock guy, right? So if I should, if it was up to me, it would be like 60 B lowers in the mix, right? but I also knew what they wanted this time. I knew that.
Yeah.
Like last time it was more like a struggle and more like a fight and more like. Also, of course, there was a deadline and everything was weird. But this time, I just got a stereo track, which they prepared with the mixes I sent them, and so it actually already fitted, almost kind of fit in volume and everything. So, and when I did the mixes, I knew that there should be space for this, so there should not be too much. Of the hi-fi area and guitars and whatnot, so there should be space for all the layers they did. So yeah, it was actually pretty simple this time. Last time was a bit, as I said, it was a bit more complicated, but I learned a lot the last 5 years. My ears and brain are working faster when it comes to mixing. So it was actually pretty easy somehow. I'm not saying it's easy every time I do something, because it's not. But I'm right now. I'm mixing this black metal album I recorded a while ago. And it's on mix 11 now, right? So, but they're happy now. But sometimes you need to find them. Sometimes you need to try out stuff before you know. Oh, this is actually what we want, what they want, what I want, what works.
Yeah.
Also, because when you have 3 days or 4 days to record an album and it's live. You also take some chances with some stuff. You leave some doors open so you can go different directions afterwards in the mix, but you also make some choices. Say, okay, I want this to sound like this, and sometimes afterwards, it can be challenging to make the whole thing blend. Also, when the band, they maybe not totally agree if it should be. I'm not talking about this band in particular, but should it be should it be I Hate God, or should it be more LLNN? You know, like it's two heavy bands, but it's very different.
Very different, yeah.
So, should it be more like, some bands also? Yeah, we want it to sound like raw and really, really raw, and like in the practice room. Yeah, you say that, but you don't want that. I'm pretty. You want the vibe of it, yes, but you don't want it to sound like Some do actually, but yeah. Anyway,
it's like that. It's like I remember reading an interview with the Deftones when they were talking about why they chose Terry Date. Way back in the day to do their stuff, and it was like because we're all big fans of Pantera, but like at no point does like anything that Terry Date did for them sound like Pantera. So you can pick out the person because you like the way they've given a sound to a band without necessarily wanting to sound like that band, which I think is important, as well as understanding the the distinction between the two. I think like you said before, like the idea on paper something sounds like a great idea, that kind of we want it to sound as raw as possible, but you know yourself what the outcome of that's going to be. So you kind of have to on some level steer, but then it's that balancing act that you mentioned at the start about giving the band the best sound but not being the sound that you want it to be. It's like kind of like a weird marriage of the two, which I think is super cool. I think it's a gift, and I know you don't like getting compliments, but I'll come back to. I think you're very, very, very good at it, because we're yet to hear two albums that sound the same. Which I like, having heard doing the number of reviews we do, and the certain names pop up over and over and over again, and you go, oh well, yeah, of course. I mean, that makes total sense, because listen to the production, it sounds like that other band. We don't get that from you, and I think that's an important thing. And like you say, the kind of the going by your ear and all the rest is an art that slowly seems to disappear the more technology gets involved, the more like presets can be applied, the more easier things go down that road. The danger is you can end up being a bit lazy with it. I'm glad to see that some people are still out there doing it by feel. So
I really still try to, and I will continue to do it the way I do it. I'm pretty sure I see no reason to change. That's as I said before, I really want to have the band sound like the band, and not me in my room or my studio. And sometimes I work a lot with new bands and young bands, and sometimes they don't really know what they want. Or sometimes they think they should sound like whatever, but then they found out in the studio that, oh, maybe this is better, or this is better for us. And there's also a part of what I do. I help bands develop their own sound, but sometimes people think that, oh, now he's doing this on this band that he did on this other band, or whatever. But and sometimes when I hear some stuff I did, I hear, okay, I kind of repeated myself with this, but this is just what fits to what they do, and then it end up being like that. What I'm trying to say is that sometimes people think, or bands think that this is the way I want to sound, but no, why I think. And we talk about it. If I hear something, okay, it's a bad idea. In my ears, it's a bad idea that you want to go this route. Why don't we try to do this instead, just to see if you can hear, if it makes sense. And then we talk about it and we try stuff out, and sometimes it goes my way, sometimes it goes their way, and sometimes it's in the middle, and but I just recorded a band recently, and they was like, we just want to sound rotten, and we just want to sound noisy, and just I play like shit, just fucking do something. Okay, let's just fucking do something. And we did something, and they're happy. But there's very different approaches from bands. That's what I'm trying to say. And like when we did,
you can hear that already, though.
What?
Sorry, on you go.
No, you were saying? I didn't hear.
I was just gonna. You can hear that already. We're only just into March, but we obviously had the Lifesick album, and then we've had another. We haven't reviewed these yet, but we're going to. So we've got Kadavermarch, we've got Thorium, and we've also got Throwe in for review as well. And they all sound totally different. Like, it's insane. But I'm excited to check those ones out as well.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Throwe and Thorium and Kadavermarch, I only mixed. I didn't record those.
Okay.
They recorded them in other studios, and Throwe recorded a lot themselves. But they sound very, very different. And that's also the thing. And it's not to point fingers, because people can do whatever they want. But sometimes when I hear people who are only doing the mix, they can make it sound like everything else they do, and it's quite fascinating, but it's also very boring. To my ears and my brain, that why is it sounding exactly the same like 10 other albums you did? But I don't have to listen to it. I can just don't listen to it. So
That's true. Yeah.
And that's the whole thing about people are so busy talking shit about people about music they don't like. Why talk shit about it? Why just press stop and then put on high voltage with AC, and then you're all good.
we recently got there's a comment on. I try not to read comments online because it's just not healthy. And we got a comment where someone made a remark that we don't often review an album, like, because we review albums at 5, we don't often give reviews lower than a 3.5, for example. And that's because we choose what albums we want to talk about when we review them, and we tend to choose the albums that we want to talk about and not the albums that we don't want to talk about. There are plenty of channels out there, and there's plenty of reviewers that just seem to get like real joy out of kicking the shit out of bands. And I just don't see the point of that. I'd much rather spend, if you're spending your free time as well, sitting talking about music, talk about the stuff that excites you, gets you, gets you all like pumped up. That to me is a more worthwhile pursuit than, here's the new Limp Bizkit album, and let's shit on, like, it's that sort of thing where I'm like, although we did do that, but I just realised we did that, but that was more for fun. But you know what I mean? Like, it's those things where you can pick a band from not obscurity, but a band that's not on the radar, maybe not being reviewed by the larger publications, but you've listened to it, you're like, this is it's like, people, like, I know for a fact the people that like this band and this band and this band are going to love this book, this group, and then spend 25 minutes talking about it, to me feels like a better pursuit. Like, when you say, like, if I don't like something, I don't go back and listen to it. Like, I'll listen to it a second time so I can review it now. Like, if I don't like it, I'd much rather just not listen to it again, which is fine. I mean, that's cool. Not all music's for everyone. So that's fine.
Exactly. It's a matter of taste and where you're at, and what do you feel like listening to? I just don't get the whole point. Like, people like posting something online, for example, like, oh, have you heard this? It really sucks. Okay. It's really bad.
For your unwanted opinion.
Why do they play this kind of whatever thing? And why do they do this? And it's so bad. Okay. Then don't listen to it, you idiot.
Thanks for your comment.
Great stuff.
I don't know.
No, but that's how it is. Unfortunately.
I think that's that's internet. But the cool thing about it is there's lots of really exciting music out just now. Lots of exciting music that you've worked on, which is also cool. And I didn't realise Dave has 4, apparently maybe even sitting in his inbox that he hasn't sent me and Kyle yet. Which is not cool, Dave. But yeah,
holding on us again.
So,
but
no, about
the whole, but about the whole mixing versus recording thing, because I recently been asked, actually a lot recently, in the gym where I train. Some people are like wondering, what is it you're doing exactly? Because you're the guy who don't have like a normal job. Well, for me, to me it's a normal job now because I have a fucking company and I'm supposed to be grown up and all that. And I actually work, and people think I'm just having fun and drinking coffee and hanging out with bands and I do that, but I also work a lot. Because it is my job, and it can be hard to.
Do you find it harder? Do you find it harder to mix something that someone else has recorded?
It's It depends on what it is and how it's recorded. Sometimes it's very, very difficult, and sometimes it's very, very easy. And the fun thing about mixing that's something else that didn't record, and that I have no idea how it's recorded, and they just get some files and I load it in and I listening to it. It's like, wow, it can sound music can sound like this too, or it can be recorded like this too. And sometimes it's like I just mixed an album. Actually, hopefully I did the last changes today. A band called Taylors or Tellers. You will hear about them. It's pretty good. And when I was listening to the files, I'm like, sounds good. And I had the bass drum. I was like, wow. And I had to ask, which microphone did you use for this? It sounds so great. and then he asked the guy who recorded it, and he said it was this Audix D6, and that's the microphone that I never liked.
That's a big beef on it.
That's the microphone I never liked. I never liked that microphone. And suddenly I have a recording with it that it sounds fucking awesome. I was like, okay, so I have to buy one. So maybe I was wrong back then when I didn't like it, So that's a nice thing, you get surprised about something you thought you didn't like and didn't like it, whatever. But yeah, it can be tricky. Also, it's also how the files are delivered, because some people are very good at making it in order, so it's easy to know what is what, and you can easily get on with it. So you don't have to get a shoulder injury from using the mouse like I did with actually with what are they called, Kadavermarch. What I got from them, they know it was like, what is what and where is what? There's so many tracks, and it was all like weird.
I once got a project sent to me. There was 80 vocal tracks that are not labeled. Yes. I was like, please consolidate this.
But it can be very easy, but if people don't know how to make it easy, then sometimes it's difficult. And it's more fun to mix and listening to tracks than use like half a day and sorting out what is what. So, but I enjoy mixing other people's stuff. I mixed something recently called Genocide Doctrine, something like Death Grind, really fast stuff.
Okay.
And they recorded, like, the recordings were not like amazing, but I made it sound amazing. No, but somehow it was easy to make it sound good and like true to what it is without making it sound something that it's not. And that's always a great feeling when it sounded pretty but now it sounds great, but it still sounds like them. So
that's cool. So out with the production stuff, do you still involved in different bands? Are you still performing as well?
Yeah, I play guitar in a hardcore punk band called listen very carefully. It's Danish. It's called Smertegrænsens Toller. And it
you're gonna need to send that.
It's hard.
You're gonna need to like.
It's hard to translate the meaning, but it's like if you
pain threshold or something.
Yeah, it's like the bottom end of the pain threshold ish.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's a band that I started with the singer 5-6 years ago. And and we got 2 other old dudes in it, and and actually, it's that's the band and the guys' fault that I start playing in a band again, because I was fed up with playing in bands myself. I was fed up with being in a practice room, and I was not. My creative part of my brain was not functioning, and then we started this band because me and the singer and I we have talked about it for many years that we should do something, and it was always like when we met each other at a show, like let's just do this band, like do a fucking good band that plays fast hardcore punk, and it never happened until it actually happened. And then it was because the time was right, and then we did it. And I asked Jonas, who I played in another band with 20 years ago, and we asked Jacob, drummer, who Mads played with in another band, and then we just started making songs, and there was no plan with it. We just made songs, but all the songs were like very, very short. So when we play a show, we play like last time we played last Saturday. We played 21 songs in 20 minutes. So that's the so there are songs that are like 35 seconds, and there are songs that are 110. So it's very to the point, and we have fun, and we did an 7-inch, and we did splits, and we did a full length with 10 songs. But we actually working. We have songs for the next one, and we're actually working on that now. We have all the songs. We just need to practice them. Like we're the kind of band that meet in the practice room, and then I play some riffs, and then that's great, and then we record it on someone's iPhone, so we don't remember it, and then we have like this list of songs that we don't remember how to play because we didn't play it again, because then we had a show and we have to like do a set, blah blah blah. So, but now we have kind of focused on doing album number 2, and it's gonna be fun. And there's different approaches on this one. So there's actually some long songs, and there's some new stuff going on. It's fun. It's good fun.
Cool.
But Mads, our singer, he sings in Danish, and he always did that. So and some people think it's fun, but it's not. It's serious. It's dead serious. Okay. Just saying it is. So, and I'm a pretty shitty guitar player, but for that kind of style that we're playing, I am pretty good.
Okay.
But I can't play in anything else. I can play on a good day, very good. And I can't play other people's music. I'm very bad at that. So that's just how it is. And then I am in another band too, and it's something really different. I'm singing in this band.
All right, cool.
But it's I don't know what it is. It's some kind of rock music. It's some people call it post hardcore, post punk, post whatever. Because we all come from a metal hardcore punk background. At least three of us do.
Yeah.
So it has some kind of feel of that, I guess. But we actually recorded an album, but which I was not supposed to mix, but I'm probably end up doing it. I was like, we give this to someone else, and then it's gonna be great times, and I don't have to listen to my own crying vocals, and but I think I'm gonna end up doing it anyway. But
It's cheaper that way, right?
No. Yes. No. Yes, it is cheaper too. That's right. But we actually played our first shows in. There was a period where Denmark was open again for shows and stuff. We played our debut show in August.
Ah, cool.
But the band did an album before with another singer,
right?
Which I recorded.
Right.
And then after that album, he left, and the band, which I know the guys, especially one of them is an old friend of mine. They live in Copenhagen, all of them. I live here in Aarhus, but they asked if do you know any cool singers, and do you know we need to continue with this band. So if I knew someone, and me and my girlfriend just split up, and I was like, I need something new to happen in my life. So like, I'll do it. Oh, I know. I mean, what about me?
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, it would be cool. And they sent some stuff from demos, from new songs, and I did some singing on it, and we ended up agreeing on it was a good idea to try to do something together. And then that was in 19, and that was actually when I was in Glasgow. That was December 19. When I landed in Copenhagen. I flew into Copenhagen, and I had a practice with them.
Yeah.
Actually, the first time where we were standing in a room together and jamming, and then that was when shit started to happen with me and my body. I had some surgeries and shit, and then COVID happened. Yeah. So all this new band thing went. It's been a long journey. We actually recorded the album once already, and now we recorded it again. It's a long story, but shit. So I'm still active, and what I was saying, you asked if I was active. So we played some shows in August, and we played in October, and we played in November actually too.
Cool. What was the name of the other band?
It's called Riverhead.
Riverhead.
Okay. Yeah. But it's something completely different, really. Okay. It's nothing to do with Hatesphere. I'm sorry to. But we did some really good stuff. It's very personal stuff. The themes, the songs. Something else. So
that sounds good.
Yeah. But today I was preparing drums for the next album I'm recording, and you're gonna love that, I think.
You have to give us details.
Yeah.
We can't just be setting up and then be like, the connection's starting to go, guys. Bye.
It looks like you're driving through a tunnel, huh?
All of a sudden, no, there's no secret in this. Have you heard Underperformer with Ice?
Oh yes.
We reviewed
that. Yeah.
Yes.
So
yes.
So,
loved it.
We're starting recording the new album on Friday.
Oh.
Friday morning at 9.
Son of a bitch.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm very excited too. I didn't work with them before. I did the mastering of the Underperformer, but mastering is
right.
Mastering
fucking love that album. Absolutely love that album.
Yeah, it's very good. But they recorded with this Toby guy in Copenhagen. This is a friend of theirs, and he also did the mix, and I did the mastering for some reason. So I was being Brad for a while there, trying to be Brad. Brad, good guy.
Yeah.
And he's also gonna do the mastering on the Ice album.
Oh, awesome.
Sure, yeah. But yeah, we're recording on starting Friday morning at 9, and they're gonna actually be here for 10 days.
Cool.
Serious business. And Rasmus Turbo Lover, who's playing the guitar in Ice, he's the guy who's playing the bass in LNN.
Right, okay.
So it's all mixed up.
Yeah.
But he's actually the guy who's making a lot of the riffs and stuff, as far as I know. But yeah,
nice.
So he's in both bands. So he's a busy man. He's also a father, and he's also a very handsome guy. I must say.
Some guys have all the luck. Yeah.
But yeah,
that's why he's the father.
I'm very excited. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Can't wait to hear that.
Yeah.
Another one to add to the list.
Yeah, yeah. On the list. Just one last thing I wanted to ask about. We kind of touched on it before we started recording, but you're big into your Brazilian Jiu-jitsu as well. How long have you been doing that?
I think it's 7 years now.
Oh,
So I started pretty late. I started when I was 36.
Yeah.
And now I'm 43. So yeah.
Yeah.
7.5. Yeah, I think. Old man. So as we talked about earlier, that's why I look like someone grinded my face, because I come straight from training. And there was actually Kain, a girl. She was being very rough on my face. She always is. I don't know why.
Not in a good way.
And her boyfriend, Søren, too, is also very not being nice. No, it's good times. But I found that through a friend of mine, an old friend of mine, who's also called Jacob. And when I got hooked, I got really hooked, and I started training a lot. And that's what you do when you get hooked to this thing, I guess.
Yeah.
And the best part of there's many good things about it, but the best part in the beginning was that the thing about finding a hobby, a new hobby that has nothing to do with music.
Yeah.
Music has been my whole life, like a hobby and a passion, and now I'm also making a living out of music with the studio. Yeah. So finding something else, because that's all I did, music. And all the people I know was through music, and suddenly I have this new thing, and you learn to know get to know your body, and you get to know other people. Wow, there's other people who do other stuff. So yeah, that was just good for me in my life, and unfortunately there's a lot of small injuries involved with this, but that and you get weird fingers that grows like out like this.
Yeah.
But
I used to do judo, and I can't close these. Yeah.
Oh yes. It fucks up.
Makes me great on bass though.
Yeah, it fucks up your hands. It's not so good, and it's not a good combination with. I want to play fast riffs, but I try to make it work somehow. But
that's cool. Yeah, I like to watch jiu-jitsu and MMA, but that's as far as I'll go. I'm not going to get involved.
But the thing about jiu-jitsu is that you don't get punched in the face, right? Like in MMA.
True, yeah.
That's the good part.
Get choked unconscious,
Yeah. But you can just tap. That's the good thing. You just tap out.
Yeah, you can't tap, Dave. Right? No, you are allowed to tap.
Yeah.
You're a drummer. You should know that. Right?
Oh.
Right there.
So yeah, next time I will visit running grappling with Giles and Christiana. We have to hook up.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring you along as like, and we're just going to visit all my enemies and scare the shit out of them.
And if you're ever in Oslo, I'm just going to go hide.
What's going on in Oslo?
Nothing. That place is boring.
I've been there a few times.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you can't remember exactly how many, can you?
No, actually not. Oslo is pretty cool, isn't it?
It's nice, it's fine, but yeah, it's the same as over there. Exactly the same is happening. Everything's just open, like it never happened.
Yeah.
And people are falling down left, right, and center. It's fun. Yeah.
It's fun. Yeah. But yeah, I'm just talking, and you're asking, and if you have anything else you want to know, I answer anything. But yeah, I'm happy that you support what I do, and that you enjoy. Mostly, you enjoy that shit I do with the bands I do, and it's cool.
Yeah, can't wait to hear more. I'm sure we could pretty much sit here and chat about metal and jiu-jitsu for many more hours. But
easy.
I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure chatting to you. I've had a blast.
Yeah,
and I can't wait to hear the rest of the stuff that you're doing this year. I'm really excited to hear it.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Thank you, and keep in touch.
Yeah, and for sure.
Yeah,
we'll see you in Glasgow one day.
What's the for sure. What's the next Danish band you're gonna review? You know?
Come on, Dave.
Is there any new? Because there's so much stuff coming that from Denmark too that I don't know even. I can't follow everything.
We've got we'll be doing Throwe pretty soon, and Kadavermarch as well.
Okay.
What's the one I'm looking forward to? I don't know when this is going to come out or who's even behind it, but the Arcane Order, you know, Kim from Mules obviously now doing vocals. I heard the single from their new stuff, and it sounds fantastic. So I'm excited to hear more of that. Actually,
I actually recorded vocals in my studio. Huh.
Oh, really?
So
cool.
I heard it. But yeah, I know they're looking for a label still.
Right, okay.
That's the last thing I heard. But they just played shows in Copenhagen and Aarhus last weekend. Nice. But yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's been cryptic, Dave. He's been cryptic.
Yeah, Kim.
He's not giving away anything. He's got his cards close to his chest.
What?
Said you're being very cryptic.
Cryptic? No,
like,
no. It is good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jakob. I'll put some links below in the in Spotify and YouTube and stuff to the Dead Rat website and Facebook page and stuff. So if there's bands out there looking for mixing and mastering and stuff or recording, then Jakob's your man. Get in touch with that guy.
Yeah.
Even though the website is haven't been updated for since 2009. No kidding. Yeah, I don't know why.
That just means it's vintage.
Vintage.
It's so stupid. Actually, there was a guy at one point, the ex-bass player from Lifesick. He actually took some great pictures and wanted to do a website for me. I just had to do some text and do some shit, but I never did it. And
did it.
And I still feel a bit bad about it because he put some work into it, and but some things are just that's how I
not meant to be.
Yeah,
The
focus.
contact details are on there. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, as long as they can book you, that's all that matters.
Yeah. All right, but hey,
Awesome.
great chat, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Yeah, skål.